Tim Pool is a horrible anti-Semite. Maybe, according to the Sam Seder crew, or at least that seems to be what they're implying, maybe explicitly saying. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this take, Adam.
Well, I mean, I thought they were throwing their lot in with the anti-Semites. I've seen their Israel-Palestine coverage. I mean, what's
Wow.
going on here?
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Are they conflicted on this? Are they becoming Tim Pool fans? Is that what's going on?
There you go. Maybe, maybe. So anyway, yeah, I mean, you listen, I have my disagreements with Tim Pool. He even says something in this video that I think is completely wrong. I won't talk about it, but I don't think for a second that Tim Pool is anti-Semitic or even trying to. I mean, this is to me, this is so dishonest from them to do this. Because we even covered, there was a whole video where Tim Pool was talking to Elijah Schaffer, who was obviously Elijah's really trying to push the JQ stuff really hard. And Tim was pushing back the entire time and gave a very good, I thought, argument against all the JQ stuff. Which, if it was true that Tim Pool was like, oh, he's so afraid of his audience, he has to push JQ, because his audience is all racist, according to Sam Seder, that he has to push JQ stuff, then explain that entire situation that he had with Elijah. Explain him telling Jake Shields and Nick Fuentes to F off.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. They accuse Tim Pool of audience capture all the time. Like if he has a bunch of anti-Semites in his audience, why is he not
Right.
catering to them?
Exactly. But anyway, so let's see what their argument is here.
All right, here we go. About this a little bit the other day. As much as there's a lot of people on the left and the right trying to deny it, the anti-Semitism bill absolutely would make it a discriminatory offense under the 1964 Civil Rights Act to claim that Jews killed Jesus. Are you familiar with this?
Oh, yes.
So there's a lot of people coming out and saying, no, 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 you're exaggerating. It's not illegal. That's not what they're saying. No, no, no. Hold on.
I love the fact.
Okay, two things before we get into Sam here. Two things. Number one, how long have they been doing the Majority Report? They can never get audio right on their show.
No, it stands out like a sore thumb.
It's so weird. They've been doing the show, for like over 10 years, I think. And they can never, why do they have so much problems with their audio? Like, why is the gain so high? You can hear it like peaking constantly.
Yeah, the audio's garbage. I don't know. It's a mystery. It's a YouTube mystery.
Yes, it's terrible. Okay. The only thing I want to talk about, which, and this bothers me too, because they're going to criticize this and they're too lazy to actually go look up the information. Okay. And the thing that Tim was talking about is, there was this anti-Semitism bill that was being talked about that passed the House, that it hasn't passed the Senate. I don't think it will pass the Senate, where they want to include this official definition from this International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance organization of anti-Semitism into some aspects of the Civil Rights Bill, which I don't support, by the way, because it basically would make it illegal under the Civil Rights Act to criticize Israel, which is preposterous. But one of the examples that this organization put forward was this, and I'll read it to you because I think everyone's just really misinterpreting it. It says, this is an example of anti-Semitism. Using the symbols and associated with classic anti-Semitism to characterize Israel or Israelis. Example, claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel.
Okay.
Okay. So I read that, and to me, it's very clear that what they're talking about is that they're not saying it's illegal to say that Jews killed Jesus. They're saying it's illegal to characterize modern day Israel or Israelis as having something to do with Jews killing Jesus from like 2,000 years ago. It would be the same as sort of the CRT bills where they're saying like, well, because white people owned slaves in the past, doesn't mean you could say that like white people today are, responsible for that, even though they weren't alive.
Right.
Right. That's how I read that. Now, if you want to make an argument that it's not super clear and it should be worded more clearly, I don't disagree with that. But that's very clearly to me what they're talking about.
Okay, so people can still make racist comments about Jews killing Jesus.
Well,
that
no.
law doesn't make that illegal.
No. So
why did they use it as an example then?
Because there was first of all, do you know what blood libel is?
Nah, not really.
Okay. Blood libel was this idea which it would accuse Jews of murdering Christians in order to use their blood in religious rituals. That was like promulgated in Europe.
Wow.
In the past.
That's weird.
Right. And so they would use accusations like that. They would use these accusations of like, there'd be whenever there'd be these passion plays back, like I'm talking about, like, hundreds of years ago, there'd be passion plays and, of the crucifixion of Jesus. And a lot of those, obviously the blame would be pointed at Jews, and people would get very upset about this, and they'd go and like attack, wherever the Jews lived, right?
So
in the
this
town.
is like an old-timey racist stereotype.
Yes,
of
it's like an
Jewish
old-timey
people.
thing. Yes,
But they
exactly.
kill Christians and they use their blood in Jewish rituals.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Some sort of, yeah, exactly.
I don't think that doesn't seem to be a stereotype today that I'm aware of. The internet is a crazy place. I mean, who knows?
Yes. I mean, listen, I've seen people mention it. I don't know if I'm serious or not, right? Like,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But so anyway, the whole point is, there's this thing about, which I think is fair, again, though I don't think this law should exist, that like, yeah, obviously, if you believe that Jews killed Jesus or Jewish people at the time in that specific location of the world, got Jesus killed, if you believe that, it would obviously not be fair to say, well, Jews 2,000 years in the future, some individual Jewish person is somehow like responsible
Still
for
responsible.
That, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, that would be an example of anti-Semitism or racism or something. To blame someone for doing something that they didn't do 2,000 years ago because they share some attribute with some other person, right?
Right. Yeah. This whole bill, I'm not sure how it escapes First Amendment scrutiny.
Well, first of all, the bill is terrible, and you're correct, I can't imagine the bill would stand up the First Amendment. It is ridiculous. So
right, because people can say and think crazy shit.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you could still, First Amendment allows you to be racist, but that doesn't mean that college campuses and employers can manifest that racism in specific ways.
Okay, so this bill is tied into Title IX or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Title VI.
Okay, that now I get it.
So you get okay.
So it's tied to like federal funding. It's not saying, look, people can't say these things are going to be thrown in jail. It's like students can't say this on a college campus, or we, the federal government, will pull your funding.
I don't know if the people individually could be sued civilly. I don't know if you go to jail, but yeah, it is about funding. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes far more sense. So
okay. Yeah,
and
so
they
I should have said
more
that in the beginning.
They have more latitude to make rules like that. And you might have said it, I just missed it. So
right. But anyway, Majority Report doesn't look into this as an address the claim, but let's see what they say.
We've already interrogated this claim.
I know
far more than Majority Report will ever interrogate it, because the only purpose of this video is to call Tim Pool a racist, who they absolutely hate for some crazy reason. So
yeah, well, it's not crazy because they go, well, he is not on the left like us. He likes Donald Trump. He likes right-wing people. Therefore, I make eyebrows. He bad.
Well, like I said, they hate Tim Pool for some crazy reason. Okay.
Okay.
Fact that that Tim Pool is going to make the argument that the rest of the bill is fine, except for the fact that you won't be able to say that Jesus killed Jews killed Jesus. Now, I suspect that you probably could say that, but what they really want.
So look, I'm so glad we dived into the context here, because now we know the context.
The context is he just suspects it. He doesn't even look it up. He doesn't have any take on it. He's just gonna say, Tim's wrong, whatever.
You could still say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I mean, it's totally bullshit because, Tim has made videos and has talked about the fact that he doesn't agree with the bill for a multitude of reasons. Okay. Right. If it's not like they're making it sound like he made it sound like directly like, oh, well, the only thing Tim cares about is this Jews killing Jesus thing. That's his big concern. And it's like, no, he said he doesn't like it for any reason. He doesn't like any aspect of it.
Yeah. Speech infringements, I don't like. I mean, it depends upon what it is, obviously, but just curtailing people's speech willy-nilly bugs me. So
of course.
Is the issue here is that you're equating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. And, even this anti-Zionism, I had this conversation with the other day, there's anti-Zionism is, it seems to me, a creation of Zionists. because there's another word for anti-Zionism, and that is like, I believe in democracy. Or I just believe that you shouldn't self-determination, that you shouldn't be oppressing people and preventing them from having any autonomy. But
I literally don't think Sam Seder knows what the word Zionism means at all. Right? Because what he said makes no sense. He said Zionism means you're anti-democracy, even though Israel's literally a democracy.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm like,
right?
what?
He says it's anti-self-determination, when the entire point was that there were Jews living in the region that wanted the right to self-determination.
Right. Yes. But he's saying, look, you're denying the self-determination of the indigenous people.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
And then in their response, well, that is true to an extent, because they keep getting attacked, right, by this group of people.
Well, if their self-determination is that they want to kill all the Jewish people, then
right.
they are denying them their self-determination, right?
But so it's just, it's so weird. It's so weird. He keeps doing this. I've never heard him say what Zionism is, so I don't think he knows. I think he thinks Zionism means you're in favor of Jewish people moving to an area, wiping everyone out, and then saying this is ours now. I think that's what, in his mind, that's what he thinks Zionism is.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
That'd be my guess.
As soon as it becomes anti-Zionism, it's like, it becomes like, I hold a special set of beliefs that are unique to Zionists. No, I just have a set of beliefs that I believe that Zionism runs afoul of. And the belief is not terribly controversial. It is one where it's pro-democratic,
right?
Period.
Yeah, that's weird, because Israel is a democratic state, so.
Yes.
And the surrounding states are not democratic states.
Yes! It's literally
what
a democracy.
Am I missing? What am I missing here, Sitch? What's going on?
It's literally
here?
a democracy that has 20% of the population, okay, that has citizenship, are not Jewish.
Look,
right?
I'm not Jewish. I don't wish the Jewish people any ill or anything, but I'm for Israel because it is a democracy.
Yes. And you're right. The surrounding countries are not democracies. What the hell?
Yeah, look, I'm for Western style capitalist democracies. Okay.
Oh.
I think that's the best way the most people can live together and thrive.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not a Jewish thing. It's a Western values thing.
Where's that going on around Israel, besides Israel, Sam? I'm just very, very, very curious.
Yeah, quick question.
Yeah.
Is it Saudi Arabia? Well,
Is it Iran?
We'll make this multiple choice.
Is it Yemen? Is it Iraq? Where are we looking? Is it Lebanon? Where are we looking here exactly? Just, I'm wondering.
Look, Sam Seder said he would come back and talk to us. I think it's time for Sam Seder to come back and talk to us.
That's true, because I want to get to the bottom of it.
This is a mystifying position here.
Yes.
It really is. Look, I don't want anyone brigading their channel, but, get the word out. Sam Seder, come talk to us, okay?
I don't know if Tim Pool has ever complained about the 26 states in the country where you can't get a government contract if you are in any way participate in like BDS or any type of boycott of Israel.
Yep.
You can't. You're a speech therapist. You're working with kids who have trouble speaking or have special needs. You can't have that job if you've participated in any type of boycott of Israel.
That literally happened in Texas.
I imagine that Tim Pool has not weighed in on that, but
he's not even making that argument, though.
No one can say that about me. PSA Sitch famously making his anti-BDS boycott.
Yeah,
video.
what about that? I got a video for you guys to cover on the Majority Report after this video here. PSA Sitch has made a video directly calling that stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Tim's made a video on that topic. I would frankly be completely shocked if he was not 100% against those laws.
Of course, yeah.
And this also doesn't even make any sense because they're like, okay, well, they're trying to put this weird position that, what is Tim Pool? If Tim Pool was anti-Semitic, why shouldn't he be against those laws?
The laws are basically saying that you can't boycott Israel, right?
It's saying that
preventing private citizens from boycotting Israel.
well, no, what it's saying is that they're just doing it through funding, though. It's saying that the federal, or not the federal, the state government that passes the law will not provide any funding to any organization that engages in a boycott of Israel.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you made a great video on it where you, I believe, were against it, right?
I'm 100% against those laws. That's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah. Private
Yeah.
citizens and companies should be able to do whatever they want.
Do whatever they want.
Yes.
Yeah. Boycott whoever they want.
Right.
It's kind of crazy that people are putting any sort of pressure on people not to do whatever they want to do. Right?
Yes.
With
But
their
it
own
just-
money.
Exactly. But I mean, this really shows that like they're sort of stuck in this, well, Tim Pool is right winger, so therefore I must look at through him through that lens. When it's like, well, wait a minute, if you're saying that Tim Pool, doesn't like Jewish people or whatever,
Yeah.
wouldn't he be against the BDS laws
Yeah.
too? Like, why are you saying like, oh, I bet he's never talked about that? It's like, well,
Because he'd
wait,
want to boycott Israel.
yeah, you think he should be against that? I can guarantee you, because Tim's take is basically like he just wants to be very isolationist from all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
There's no way.
Yeah, I can guarantee you that he's against these BDS laws. Okay, without even saying it, I would bet $10,000 that if you had simple, how do you feel about these anti-BDS laws? You say those ridiculous, it's infringement of free speech, blah 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 blah.
He would. Yeah. Obviously.
I mean, well, I guess he is making an argument about this specific free speech. And when he says you can't even say that the Jews killed Jesus, that's a wink and a nod to a few people in the audience that want to say more things about Jews
He knows
outside of the Jesus killing part. It's just like, you can't say the bad things about Jews, which is what we want to say.
Here's that signature move where you do anything and they accuse you of racism. Remember? Here it is. Emma's just a master at this. She really is. These false accusations of racism is like her bread and butter.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. That's her.
Sick.
That's all she does is she throws out these accusations. I mean, she did it on Tim's show, remember?
She did. And look, and Tim Pool kind of, went with the false accusations of pedophilia.
Right.
Which a lot of people got upset about. And I was like, I mean, she does throw a lot of false accusations around, right? I'm not going to go to the mat for someone who is constantly making false accusations when some come flying their way. So I'm not going to make false accusations about people myself, obviously, because I have my own reputation to uphold, but I get it. Yeah.
He also knows it's unpopular and that he needs to take a position against it that isn't in line with the protesters.
That's my point there, is that like he knows it's they're against it on the right, so he's going to take a position about it being sort of he's got to find the position.
Surprise, it's attack on us again, the
And
reactionaries.
this is what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. We played that clip last week. So he's just saying Marjorie, the liberal fence sitter Tim Pool
They found a way.
Is aligned with MTG.
No, you're exaggerating. It's not illegal. That's not what they're saying. No, hold on. The anti-Semitism bill got passed, but we don't know if it'll make it to the Senate. Donald Trump in 2019 signed an executive order instructing federal agencies to operate under the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, which includes, as an example, statements like Jews killed Jesus. I'm not saying they did, but it's in the Bible they did. It's in the Bible numerous times, and it's not, and then people try to argue, no, it's in the Bible that they demanded of Pontius to do it. No, it's in the Bible that Pontius says, I will not have this man's blood on my hands. And then the people scream back to him, it will be on our hands and our children. That's in the Bible. So if you believe in the Bible.
I mean, you think people really said that, Adam? They think they said, you should go kill that guy and his blood will be on the hands of us and our children.
I'm not like a biblical scholar or anything.
I don't know.
So.
Seems a little sus to me. People be like, oh yeah, blame our children forever for this. Yeah. I don't know. Seems a little sus to me, right?
In the Bible, they're trying to kind of promote this air of just authority. So a lot of times they kick things up, to an 11.
I see.
So
saying they kind of added some flowery language to the situation.
Yeah, it might be hyperbole, right?
Right.
So.
Just maybe a little bit. Just a little bit.
And you preach the Bible, and someone is in some way discriminated against you have now committed a crime under the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which I believe is a civil violation. You get sued and you lose. So no one, you're not going to go to jail for it. Anyone's allowed to go on a street corner and say the most vile things, you know, like I'm not even talking about the Bible. I'm saying like they can go out and be racist, whatever. You can't go to jail for that. But if you kick someone out of a store while holding up a sign that says something overtly racist, they're going to sue you under Title VI, and they're going to win. Now, saying, putting up a Bible passage, like the one of Pontius saying, "I will not have this man's blood on my hands." Imagine you had that in your restaurant. Right. Denied service to a guy for some arbitrary reason, like he wasn't wearing shoes, and then he says, "You know what? Well, I was Jewish, and he had a thing on."
Let me.
Well, first of all, it would be a little weird if you had that specific passage like giant behind you in your restaurant, right? Like out of all the passages, you have the passages that the Jews say, "Listen, it's our fault that Jesus." Right?
Yeah, look, I would.
That's interesting.
If I was Jewish, I'm not sure I'd be eating at that Italian restaurant.
Right, right. You know, if you walked in and they had like the quote from, you know, the Old Testament that talked about like really big behind you, it said like, you know, men should not lay with another man or they should be put to death. You're like, I wonder why they selected that specific passage. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
look, if you're gay and you see that, you're like, look, I get the message. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
I'm not welcome here.
Obviously.
Move along. Yeah.
So, but them watching this video is so interesting because they obviously, these guys, they disagree with this bill 100%, this anti-Semitism bill. So they're on Tim's side, but they're like uncomfortable because they're like, well, we're on Tim's side, but for different reasons, right? So we have to establish that like we're on that side for the good guys' reasons because we want to stop a genocide, and Tim's against it because he wants to dog whistle to the anti-Semites in his audience, I guess.
Right.
Which is then confusing because you're like, well, then shouldn't Tim be like super pro-Palestinian?
No,
But he's not.
Yeah, it's a different perspective. Completely
Right.
different perspective.
So, and also just it is annoying that like the laziness of, you know, Sam Seder doesn't turn to, I mean, he's got like producers, he's got the voice, right? The off-screen Matt voice and all these other people that are working this, like, you know, I'm curious, you know, this passage that Tim's talking about, is this a legitimate critique of the bill? I don't think it is at all. But is it a legitimate critique of the bill? Someone go bring up this thing that he's talking about so I can read it and I can see whether I agree with Tim's assessment or not, which he doesn't want to do because he's afraid that he could have to agree with Tim and say, well, you know, maybe Tim's right about this, right?
Yeah, he does agree with Tim ultimately.
Yeah, on the bill overall, sure.
Yeah.
Let me just explain what arbitrary means. Arbitrary means something that has absolutely no basis, no reason for it. It's just sort of whimsical. When you deny service to someone for no shoes, you're actually following the health code, and that would be a perfect defense. Exactly. Like if they came in and said, like, "Oh, you have this sign here, and you denied me food." And my defense was like, well, he was not wearing shoes. They would go, oh, okay, dismissed, summarily dismissed.
But he has to come up with a fake kind of, I guess, basically pretext for it, because then otherwise he'd have to acknowledge that actually anti-discrimination happens to a lot of different people in places of business, and that's why we need these kinds of laws.
It's also weird, too, like in this instance.
This is such a weird, okay, I'm so glad that instead of taking the time, right, to go like look up the thing that he's talking about to see if you agree or disagree with it, to analyze it. And if you disagree, like as I did, you explain why, you know, you read it out, you explain why you disagree with it. Instead, we're going to focus on the fact that he used the word arbitrary, which Sam here has a problem with, because he's like, well, technically, Tim, you used the word arbitrary incorrectly. Okay. Even though I think Tim use of the word arbitrary is completely fine, because he meant arbitrary in terms of not related to anything anti-Semitic. But, you know, I guess you could say, like, technically, maybe there was a better word he could find. I'm sure this is the primo political commentary, I guess we're getting here.
Emma, you said anti-discrimination when she really meant discrimination. So,
oh my
but
God,
she got it wrong. Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
Emma, jeez, Emma,
Well, I just
can't
look. I
believe-
noticed it.
My gosh.
A lot of people face anti-discrimination in restaurants. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Really? No, that's not true.
Sis.
Listen, last time I went to a restaurant, I walked in And
You
they
faced
said,
a lot of anti-discrimination.
yes, they walked in. I walked in. They said, sir, how can we help you? And I said, excuse me, did you just call me a dirty Jew? And they said, what? No, not at all. And it's like, this is anti-discrimination. You didn't say anything discriminatory against me. I can't believe this. I'm suing you. And I stormed out.
Look, that would be an interesting lawsuit. I don't think it would make it very far. I
You
mean,
don't think
you
so?
probably have to represent yourself. It's difficult for me to imagine you could get
I get Emma. What do you mean? I could get Emma to be
my.
my lawyer, all right? This is the anti-discrimination lawsuit.
I think she just misspoke. Okay, but it's
No,
kinda funny.
I don't think so. Listen, it's very arbitrary of you to say that.
Many people have faced discrimination in places. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Especially Emma.
Maybe you're right.
I think what he's really wants is that you were holding the sign as you came in to get the food, and they denied service to you because of the sign. But go ahead.
He wasn't wearing shoes. And then he says, you know what? Well, I was Jewish, and he had a thing on the sign blaming Jews for killing Jesus. That's why they kicked him out. You will get sued. You will lose.
Yeah. I mean, in Texas, y'all know what Dairy Queen is?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
of course.
Okay. Every
What kind of question is that?
Dairy
Is that like,
Queen?
is there places in America where there's not Dairy Queens? I mean, maybe I'm
I'm-
out of loop here. I assume Dairy Queen was everywhere, like McDonald's. Like everyone knows what a Dairy Queen is, right?
I thought that was like a gay farmhand. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. I'm glad. I guess they don't have them in California. So
Oh, okay. No, we have Dairy Queen.
Of
I
course.
just obviously we have plenty of gay farmhands out here too.
that's true. That's true. I just thought it was a weird question.
Dairy Queen in Texas where I live has a Bible on the counter. Do y'all have that?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What?
And there's a highlighter, and it always says highlight your favorite verse. So while you're waiting to order, you go to the Bible, you open it up, and you highlight your favorite. It's just
This did not happen in New England when I was growing
okay.
up.
This is Texas Dairy.
This is badass. I got to admit, I want to read that Bible.
I was gonna say these
How are these
that's
people doing?
cringe as hell. Oh my god.
There's the Old Testament in there. You can highlight something.
I don't want to. It's so lame. Oh, I'm at Dairy Queen to order my Blizzard because I want to give myself a diabetic coma when I put sugary cookies
Those are good.
on top of my ice cream. And the last thing I want is to look at the Bible and be like, "Oh, listen, you fat fuck." Okay, well, you're gonna get your diabetic coma to see God. It's better that you highlight the fucking passage from the Bible beforehand.
Where do they talk about gluttony? Where are
Yeah,
the seven
exactly.
deadly sins?
Yeah, there you go. That'd be the chat movie. Like,
I'm
let me
gonna
open it
dog
up.
ear some pages.
Yeah, let me open it up right to the part about gluttony. You know, I'm gonna fold the page down right there, just be like, circle the whole thing, and be like, yeah, maybe this is where we should turn to.
Dairy Queen, Texas Dairy Queen. But I mean, technically, it might not be printed that you have Acts 10 or Second Thessalonians or any of these verses, but having a Bible present in the store, someone could say that's anti-Semitic, and even look, it's opened
Oh
up
my
here, and someone
God.
highlighted this,
Nonsense.
and I didn't
Yes.
and so
And I didn't get served, and it could be
something stupid.
the ice cream maker wasn't working,
Right.
but and then they say no. You look at what happened in Colorado.
The ice cream.
The baker who gets sued over and over and over again. It's opening a door that should not be open. But I will also stress. Oh boy, does that bill ban the Quran and the Hadith? Like, it's one thing for the Bible to be like, and Pontius said, I will not have the blood of this man in my hands. And they yelled back, it will be on the hands of us and our children. It's another thing in the Hadith where it says, the hour will not come until the servants of Allah hunt down the Jews, and the rocks and the trees will scream, O servants of Allah, there is a Jew hiding behind me, come kill him. That's crazy.
But
Yeah, how do they respond to that? Look at them. They're like deers in the headlight.
I know. What do you think the response is going to be? We'll just guess.
I'm not sure. It seems like they're still formulating a response.
The
Yeah.
response is that they're not going to respond to it.
Okay, they're going to just
Just going
pretend
to
that
pretend like
didn't
it didn't
exist.
happen. Yeah.
I mean, that seemed like the most pro-Jewish clip of Tim Pool on the internet to me. I mean, what?
Well, I don't know if it's pro-Jewish. I don't think it's anti-Jewish, but I don't think it's pro-Jewish.
Well, I mean, if you're saying banning those things is good. Well, I guess
Well, no,
he's not
he's
saying
not
banning
saying
those
that,
things is
no.
good,
Right.
but
But
Yeah.
it does destroy their argument that this is some kind of like, um, look, it's just Tim wants to be anti-Semitic if he's saying like, this would ban the Quran too, right?
Right.
And that's why he's against it. See, and I think I think they're kind of deer in the headlights for two reasons. Number one is that they're kind of as, leftist progressives, they're annoyed by having to address the fact that, yeah, like, maybe the Quran says some messed up stuff, right?
Oh yeah, that's a
Right.
good point. Yeah, that's a great point.
But that's just a double whammy because that's just the first thing. The second thing is then, well, wait a minute. Tim can't be a bigoted right-wing dog whistler because they don't like Muslims either. And so how could he be against a law that would, make it so you couldn't have the Quran or verses from the Quran in like a restaurant or whatever example you want to do, right? That completely goes counter to their narrative that he's dog whistling to the evil right-wing bigots.
Yeah, the just the affect of what he said, what Tim said when he read that out was like, this is
Crazy.
like messed up. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
This is
You're right.
messed
You're
up, crazy, racist, right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Crazy racist against who? Jewish people, right?
Right.
So I don't know how you can sit here, and it looks like they made this video to kind of call Tim Pool a, anti-Semite. That's just that him saying that did not have obviously the feel of an anti-Semite.
You're right. It shows the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, it had the feel of someone who sympathizes with how much Muslims or the Quran is against Jewish people and how fucked up that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's more, this video should be titled Sam Seder Struggles.
Yeah, to call Tim
call
Pool an anti-Semite, even though it seems like he's obviously not in the video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so weird. Why do they pull this video up that completely goes against their argument? I guess they can just wave Tim Pool in front of their audience and get them to believe whatever. It's kind of like magic. It's just misdirection.
Well, this is the second time this happened where we watched the Sam Seder video where I feel like they had some producer pull a clip for them and they kind of
got
have really
blindsided.
they didn't watch it obviously beforehand and their take doesn't make any sense with the actual clip. And they kind of later in the clip kind of destroys their entire point. And then they still put it up though. They still cut it, edit it, give it a title, put it up. And I guess their audience is too dumb to notice or care.
Right. Yeah.
I am 100% sure that these religious books will not be outlawed. That if you really want to have a Bible or a Quran,
This is just like Jordan Peterson saying, I'm going to be put into the gulag for misgendering people.
Yeah, it's hysterical. And also,
We're not talking about a crime that you get thrown in jail for.
Right.
We're talking about pulling government funding.
Yeah,
So I'm so glad we went back to the context.
I know,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
yeah. Which Tim even said in the video.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson did get in trouble. I mean, he did get his license removed. So.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I'm pretty sure for the foreseeable future, the Christianity is going to be okay in this country.
well, that's the amazing thing is that they're somehow like this is about sort of centering themselves and making it about an attack on them. When in fact, I mean, the real problem.
None of that happened in the video. What are you talking about? Tim Pool is a Christian now, worried about attacks on Christianity.
Well,
What are you smoking, Sam Seder?
His audience is okay. It's all dog whistles.
Dude, get out of here. Get out of here. Tim Pool's audience is a bunch of Christians.
I mean, I'm sure some of them are, but yeah.
Look, we have Christians in our audience too, but it's not like
Sure.
I find it hard to believe Tim Pool's audience is the majority is like Catholic Christian. Come on.
Problem here is that standard that they're adopting has been one that has been manipulated to defend Israel from critique, not to defend Jews from the charge that 3,000 years ago,
Right.
2,000 years ago, they killed Jesus.
Don't worry, Tim. You'll be able to say anti-Semitism. They'll all be able to be anti-Semitic. It won't be a problem.
Did you see that? She just said, Tim, don't worry, you'll be able to say anti-Semitism.
Yeah, well,
Wow. Another arbitrary misspeak by Emma. Oh,
yeah.
call it out.
She's trying to say, don't worry, Tim, you can still be an anti-Semite.
Yes, that is what she's trying to say.
Yeah. So I just look.
You like how she's just so quick to
Flip
throw
it.
like,
I know
yeah,
exactly.
Tim just wants to be a big bigot. He obviously hates Jewish people. I'm basing this on nothing.
Yeah. Well, she's basing it on the fact that there's this right-wing stereotype that everyone is greedy racists who's on the
Right.
right, and she said Tim is on the right, obviously, so he's a greedy racist.
Even though it was, there were some Republicans that voted against that anti-Semitism bill, but it was mostly Democrats. There was like
Oh,
20
really?
Republicans and 70 Democrats voted against it. So
Hmm.
If
usually
this law were to
Republicans
get
are
adopted,
the ones that are kind of lobbying for this stuff anyway. So, but whatever.
it would be if you were anti-Zionist. That's what it would be.
It's wild the way that we talk about not wanting to frame this as a fight between religions going back thousands of years, and instead look at the imperial and sort of global nation sort of impacts of it. The Jews killed Jesus thing is just an ancient example of that, because we don't talk about the Roman Empire or anything like that. It's just
Right.
like the Jews killed him.
God, I would love to get Matt on our show.
He's too much of a cat. We asked him. He cucked out, didn't he?
Yeah, too much
Yeah.
of a coward.
He's a coward.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever done any sort of conversation with anyone that he disagreed with on the internet that I'm aware of.
Oh, I don't know if he just done that. He does do a podcast. I think it's called Left Reckoning, and he does, obviously, he's on this show from time to time.
Right.
so-
No, he's done other things. I'm just saying, I don't think he's ever like had someone on that he's going to disagree with or have a debate with.
Right, yeah.
So
That's probably smart on his part.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay, let's go to the IMs.
So is there anything good in here?
I don't remember. Let's see.
Ryan from Cali. Okay, the most basic tenet of Christianity: we all killed Jesus. He died for our sins. It's like when Black Widow died. Avengers Endgame, Tim. Unless you're a follower of the Aryan heresy or something.
I was like,
Is that like a Christian majority report?
I don't think
That's
that
not-
was a good comparison. I guess I know it's like a joke, but like it also doesn't really make sense as a joke. But
Okay.
The devil. I'm going to highlight all the chapters about me. Oh, wait.
There you go.
Ismish. My son's in 8th grade. Let me know that a teacher played PragerU video in class Friday. Luckily, he's smart enough to ignore whatever it was saying. Jesus.
Wow.
We're so screwed. We're so screwed.
They get majority report homeschool.
Oh, can you imagine majority report in the classroom?
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting that they're like, understand why, it's not good to have a very politically biased source like PragerU, being taught about in public schools. But then when it comes to all like the insanely hyper woke, very politically ideological leftist stuff that is in some of these schools, they're like, that's just anti-racism. That's just anti-transphobia.
That's just reality. That's
Yeah.
just science. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Our ideology is the truth.
Of course.
Their ideology is propaganda, obviously. Jeez. How do you not get this?
Started up.
Ostentatious. Yeah, I live here in Austin. That's BS. I have a Dairy Queen right up my street. There's no Bible on the counter.
That's good.
Dark soul. Not
As if, I mean, look, this is a typical majority report audience who are just, they're functionally idiots. Like Dairy Queens are it's a chain, but it's owned by individuals, right?
Yeah, it's
so
true.
Any Christian who decides he wants to franchise a Dairy Queen can put a Bible on the counter if he wants. So
Sure, but to be fair, I think that guy made it sound like it was like a commonplace thing in like Texan Dairy Queens. I don't know if he said a specific city, but he just made it sound like, oh yeah.
he just said one is down the street from his house, and he's like seen it. He didn't say he's not like, look, I've been coast to coast, and Dairy Queen always has a Bible.
No, he
on
said
it.
no. He said every Dairy Queen in Texas.
Did he really?
He said
What-
every
did
Dairy
you-
Queen.
look.
I have the transcript.
Did you
somewhere.
really?
Yes.
Oh my God! Go into the transcript.
Does see, unlike Sam Cedar in the majority report, I actually care about like knowing
About the
what
truth?
goes on.
Okay, look at this.
He says every Dairy Queen in Texas where I live, so I don't know where he lives, I guess, has a Bible on the counter. So you know what? And you're probably correct.
There's one Dairy Queen where he lives.
Yeah, you're probably correct. He lives in one place where there's one Dairy Queen where if that's franchise, where one owner has the Bible on the
Exactly.
yeah, and then he turns it into every Dairy Queen in Texas because we're Texas.
Every
Yeah.
Dairy Queen in Texas where I live.
Right.
So silly. Well, both sides are hedging here.
Yes.
Yeah. which is why I can't stand this stuff. Hi, you just listened to a Sitch and Adam recorded video. That's right, we're still doing recorded videos. And of course, we're still doing our live streams. Our Sunday live stream begins at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And our daily live streams start at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come check it out. You're gonna love it. Subscribe to this channel right here to watch the live show or watch more of our awesome deep dive videos.